Double check. Let me see.
All right, no, okay. I'm sorry, guys.
Hello, hello.
We've been talking for 5 minutes, and I didn't unmute us.
Okay.
Typically, Badake is the one who has been streaming lately because we've been streaming much more on the redraft channel.
Yeah, that is correct.
But here we are. Hopefully, you guys can see us. Can you guys see us? Is it all
Let me
good?
know if I hear okay, if I sound okay, if I sound too distorted. Last time I was talking really loud.
Yeah. Let's just make sure we're all good before we start.
Yeah.
No
Let me
point
just
in,
double check
in
my
getting
audio
into it
here.
without knowing that we're all good. So can we get some thumbs up in the chat? Can we say, okay, you're good, go ahead, get started. Clear eyes, full heart. What's up on Twitch?
How are you feeling,
Okay,
man?
you're good. Good now. Okay, cool. All
Good
right,
now,
guys.
awesome.
Okay, so essentially, I'll put the little ticker here now so people know when to start watching. If they watch it later. If you guys can do us a favor and drop a like on this stream, that would be much appreciated. And if you're watching this later, drop a like as well. That would be much appreciated. We're going to recap week 3 of the college football season. Why is this important? Because we're going to be talking about the 2023 draft class very, very soon, sooner than you know. We're already talking about the 23 draft and the 2024 draft class as well. We're going to be talking about players who might be raising their stock, lowering their stock. I have a list of players that I'm really excited to bring you. Let me actually look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. 7 guys that I just want to highlight that we typically don't necessarily hone in on. And I want to bring more awareness to the community of these players for you guys to watch. So why don't we start with the quarterbacks here? CJ Stroud had a pretty good game here versus Toledo. I mean, what are we supposed to say? He's playing Toledo. CJ Stroud is still probably the first overall pick in the class, if not Will Anderson. Will Anderson looks incredible. But I would say at this moment, CJ Stroud is still the first player off the board if it's a quarterback needy team. Let's say it's Jacksonville. You can probably bet that it's Will Anderson. But right now, CJ Stroud just looks incredible. I mean, completed 80% of his passes, 5 touchdowns. He could really do no wrong here in week 1. Bryce Young, any thoughts on Bryce Young's performance here in week 2 versus Louisiana Monroe? Again, not the toughest competition, but he struggled a little bit.
Yeah, not the toughest competition. He did throw 2 interceptions here, but I mean, he barely threw the ball. I mean, he threw the ball 18 times just because they were up really early. He took a little break, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, what can you say with both of these guys? Both of these guys right now clearly 101, 102 feels like in the NFL draft at this very moment. I mean, there's nothing that it feels like there's nothing they can do wrong. He did struggle. He threw 2 interceptions, but at the same time they were up. Maybe they were just taking chances. Maybe they were just doing stuff that they wanted to run. But I didn't see those interceptions specifically.
Watching the game, it felt
63-7.
You're obviously not going to lower him in your draft rankings because of a game like this, but it definitely was not the type of performance. I mean, look, they didn't really need to do all that much because they were dominating this game, but you don't really want to see him make some of those bad decisions. So let's hope he cleans that up a little bit. He's been one of the best touchdown to interception rates in the NFL last year, so I think he'll figure it out. Let's talk about one of your guys that you've loved coming in, but obviously not been the best starts. What's happening with Tyler Van Dyke? Did you get to watch the Texas A&M game?
Yeah, I saw a little bit. I was watching it with you, then went back and watched it. It's just he's not making the strides that I was hoping that he'll make. You know, like reading the field, kind of really dominating each game. To be honest, he didn't throw a touchdown. He didn't throw an interception this game. They struggled a lot, and he threw the ball a lot. But I think it's just there was just so much. He's still with the young team. They're still trying to understand each other. A lot of miscues, a lot of drop passes. This was a good opportunity for him to showcase what he can do against a ranked team so far, but it just wasn't there for him. He still has obviously all the tangibles, the arm strength. You know, sometimes he could throw the ball with great accuracy, but you saw that this past week where he was struggling a little bit. At the moment, it doesn't feel like he's taking the strides I hoped. Like I said earlier, I would have hoped he would have taken already by now. So has he moved down my rankings? No, but he is somebody that I am. If he doesn't improve, he is going to be quick to fall. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. I always like to look at NFL mock draft database just to kind of get a gauge, if you will, on where these players currently are. So I wonder if we can see if he's moved down at all. He has moved down, so he's officially not a first round pick according to analysts out there who do create mock drafts. But early second round is what he looks like right now. But look, I mean, with Tyler, I think you highlighted a little bit, but I think what's really important to note for people is that the wide receiver room in Miami is incredibly bad. Really young players, a lot of drop passes this year. No one is helping Tyler Van Dyke out right now, and I think that's important to note. So while we see him struggling, I really think it's going to be one of those ones where it's really hard to gauge him by the end of the year because of how poor quarterback play was. A lot of quarterbacks, though, the good ones are able to overcome bad, wide receiver play, and they're able to put their team on their back. That's not what he was able to do versus Texas A&M. So you want to see him do that with these upcoming games that he has here. But right now, his stock is slightly down. I think we have to admit that at this very moment. That could change, but it is slightly down. I think we have to agree. A player that we were really, really excited about, we still see potential, but things need to turn. They need to turn, and it needs to happen fast. All right, Anthony Richardson, another player again. I was very, very excited about coming in. I still am. But my goodness, it's been a very rough last couple weeks. After an incredible start versus Utah, I mean, some of the toughest competition he'll face all year. It's been a really rough couple weeks here. Kentucky was a terrible game. South Florida was a terrible game. And right now he's going to have the good thing compared to Tyler Van Dyke is like Tyler Van Dyke's schedule is not as hard as Anthony Richardson.
Right.
So the good thing for Anthony Richardson is that he's going to have more opportunities to continue to grow versus very, very good competition. And I'm just going to bring up his schedule here because if you look at their upcoming schedule, I mean, it doesn't get any easier the rest of the year in this SEC. So right now you can see that they're telling me about an out blocker. Utah, Kentucky, they're going to face Tennessee. They're going to face Tennessee this week, and I'm going to tell you why that's going to be an incredible matchup to watch here in a second. They get to face LSU, Georgia, A&M, Florida State. So he's going to get tested plenty of times, and we need to see massive growth from him right now because at this moment, Badake, I wonder where you stand. I feel like because of his skill set, he still right now fits into the first round pick category, but that's not solidified at all. If things don't go his way, we might see him return to Florida.
Yeah, and my thought process is right now, he could return to Florida. Should he return to Florida though? I'm not sure, but at the same time, it's tough right now. I think he should commit. He may not go in the first where he wanted to go, or in the top of the first where he wanted to go. But I think the reason why he is going to be, what helps him, I believe, is that he's going to get tested against these tough teams. I think a lot of people see that as like, well, he's going to get tested, and this is his first year, and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be really bad for him. But I think that's what maybe teams potentially want to see. How does he improve when he plays? I know you said he played Georgia, and then he played Texas A&M. How does he improve from those two games onwards? Because if he's not improving significantly and he's still making the same mistakes, then there's a question. I think right now it's still too early to kind of really say if he should go into the next year's draft or wait a year and go in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the reason I said that is because if he does struggle, I imagine he comes back to develop. But we'll find out. We'll see what's going to happen. 4 interceptions on the year, 3 rushing touchdowns, no passing touchdowns. So we're going to have to keep track of Anthony Richardson. Right now, the arrow is definitely down on Tyler Van Dyke and Anthony Richardson. The arrow is down. If we were to do a 2023 draft today, Anthony Richardson is probably not a top 5 pick for me. There's probably at least 5 other players right now in this class that I'm drafting over him in a Dynasty rookie draft. So they're going up against Tennessee this week. You can see it up here. And the reason that's a pretty big matchup is because of Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is a name that I think he's one of these guys that I wanted to bring up today. He was one of the 7 that I wanted to bring up and shed a little light on. Hendon Hooker, 4-star recruit, 6'4", 218 pounds, has played incredibly all year. I mean, if you look at the game logs right now, he's played really, really well. Over 72% versus Ball State versus Pitt, which was an overtime game, which is, if you guys haven't been able to watch that, I would encourage you to. Played really well. Same versus Akron. I mean, you hope that this team just dominates Akron.
Right.
A really athletic player. He's relatively like a threat with his legs. And he's been really, really safe with the ball. 0 interceptions. Currently just under 70% of his passes completed. 6 touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns. 0 interceptions. This is someone who had high hopes coming in as a prospect. Never really lived up to those high hopes, but now here at Tennessee as a senior seems to have maybe put it together. So I don't think he's going to be very high on many people's boards. He transferred over from Virginia Tech. You can see his high school profile here. Was a 4-star recruit, originally committed to Virginia Tech, eventually transferred to Tennessee. But this is a player who obviously didn't work out at his first stop. Tennessee seems to be a place where he has found his home. And I'm very curious on the consensus if he is anywhere up here. Okay, so right now they have him at about pick 118. Again, this is not a clear science, it's just where college football currently stands. As of right now, I think Hendon Hooker probably has a good chance to be a 2nd-round pick in the NFL draft, a 2nd or 3rd-round pick in the NFL draft. I'm thinking about like a developmental quarterback who has shown a lot of progress that a team can look at and think maybe this guy has all the tangibles to be someone that can lead our franchise. So again, it's not a sexy name because he's a senior. He struggled a little bit with the beginning of his collegiate career, but now he seems to be really has developed a lot of things that he needed to develop. So I wanted to bring him up. He was one of the 7 names that I wanted to make sure I mentioned today.
No, that's good. I think it's definitely interesting. I didn't see much of him personally, but like I said, what I'm looking at, what you said, he could have an opportunity. I mean, he's a tall quarterback. He looks mobile. Let's see if he can kind of.
I would highly encourage people to go watch the Pittsburgh Tennessee game, the one that went to overtime here, because while it may not be his like most accurate performance, you can see the potential. You can see the raw assets there waiting to potentially be molded into an NFL quarterback. So he really excites me. I talked about this name last week, but this is number 2 of 7 for the quarterbacks, and that is KJ Jefferson. I talked about Hendon Hooker rising up rankings, rising up draft boards. KJ is skyrocketing up draft boards. I mean, if he's not, he should be. He's had an incredible year so far. Really accurate with the ball. He's faced relatively difficult competition. I mean, Cincinnati, South Carolina, those are good programs. Missouri State, this game should not have been as close as it was. But KJ Jefferson, to me, should be someone that is on the rise in the NFL draft boards. Has the mobility, has relatively good arm strength. Now, the accuracy overall, or just like the quarterback play overall, definitely can improve. However, I think you look at guys like Jalen Hurts and how they win for a football program, for an NFL team. That's how I view KJ Jefferson. I mean, he can be the Jalen Hurts mold in the sense that there's a really good team here, and you need a quarterback who's on a rookie contract that you can build around and potentially put incredible pieces like an A.J. Brown around him, like a good offensive line. And then you can see him not game manage. I'm not trying to disrespect Jalen Hurts, but with his strengths, you build around his strengths. And KJ Jefferson, to me, very, very intriguing. I love his athletic ability. And there's another player from this team that I want to highlight. He is one of my 7, but we'll get to that at a different position.
No, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, the next quarterback here on this list, I think I would assume also the last one is Will Levis.
Yeah, we can talk about Will.
brother Will out of Kentucky had a decent game. It wasn't amazing. He threw 2 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I watched this game, I mean, it was against, I don't even know how to say YSU.
Youngstown State. They should have dominated this game.
State.
And they did.
Which they did. But once again, the interceptions, the chances that he's taking. But one thing I always want to highlight again is how he is not rushing out of the pocket immediately. He's still trying to learn how to go through his progressions and stay in that pocket. And one thing that you said is that pocket presence is not there, and that's okay. And I think as that happens, he's going to continue to develop. The best way to develop the pocket presence is to stay in the pocket. And that's exactly what you want. I mean, he's getting sacked. He sacked 11 times in three games, which is crazy, which either saying that he's staying in the pocket for too long or the offensive line is not the best. And I think there's a combination of both. But look, Will Levis is definitely taking the strides that I want him to take. I'm not sure if I know you were a little bit shaky on Will, but for me, I'm liking what I'm seeing. The developmental process of how he is staying in the pocket, going through the progressions. You know, a lot of his weapon, well, really his main weapon is no longer there in Wan'Dale Robinson. But I like what he's doing right now. I think he's still a first-round pick in my eyes.
Yeah, he's not there for me yet, but I understand that the rest of the world has him there. Like, I understand that the rest of the world has him like probably locked in as a first-round pick. And I also, like, I mean, we can clearly go to like the consensus pick. Like, yeah, look, I mean, he's right now the 14th ranked player according to a bunch of analysts who do mock drafts. I don't know, man. I watched this game, this Youngstown State game, and some of the mistakes, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, dude, you should be destroying this team. And they destroyed the team as a team, but his gameplay, like, I didn't see an elite quarterback, an elite ability to read the field. And again, like, I know that he's going to develop that over the season, but I need to see drastic growth from the IQ part. I need to see drastic growth from an ability to read multiple options on a play and then make a throw that you're not in a place where you're anticipating wrong or you're not reading the defense and it puts you in a bad position. Yeah, I mean, the last two games specifically, you have seen what I've talked about kind of highlighted, just this lack of ability to really read the field. And I understand that he's trying, and that's good, but I need to see it. I need to see it more. But sure. Definitely can. Again, another guy who's going to get tested for sure. DJ Ugalele, I think we should quickly talk about him.
Okay.
Had a pretty decent game versus Louisiana Tech. I still can't get over just the body type. I mean, you look at DJ and the arm strength is there, the body size is there. It's just, again, it's not all here just yet. Like, it's not all here, and the touch isn't there just yet. And another player that, again, like right now, he probably has like a 4th, 5th round draft pick on him. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to be on here.
I think, yeah, it's
just a name to keep track of. Like, I'm not ready to completely give up on him. Someone I am ready to give up on, Spencer Rattler.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, wow.
It was a terrible game. We should have anticipated it versus Georgia. But right now, Spencer Rattler, I mean, he looks like a high school quarterback. He really does. He looks like a high school quarterback.
When we did the quarterback evaluations, even before the year, I guess don't want to toot my own horn, but I was just like, he's not going to be a successful quarterback. He has all the tangibles. When I say just literally the arm strength is phenomenal, and the way that he can be a threat with his legs. But other than that, everything else is non-existent. He does not practice his craft.
Yeah,
from what we are seeing, like every year in and year out, he hasn't practiced his craft, and he hasn't improved. Which means that he's maybe lazy. Which means that he's just not. He doesn't want it as much. That's what I said in the video.
If you're not coachable, that's going to make it really hard for a team to want to bring you in and mold you. And right now, he's not even a draft pick right now.
No, I don't think he will be drafted if he continues this way.
Yeah.
Unless somebody sees him as a project and says, you know what, he has all the tangibles, but let's see if we can truly coach him in the NFL and like give him some real shit, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You know, we can't really judge a man by, you know, what we see on social media, but we're doing that right now. We're saying like he doesn't have what it takes to really like humble himself and actually learn. Like and to be honest, maybe like definitely part of it's his fault. Part of it's probably impossible to know what he was going through, where he had all this fame from such a young age and had all these followers and everyone's spotlight and probably loved it. But maybe that made his head a little bit too big. It's hard to say, but
surely other people have that fame, you know, like surely I'm not saying maybe not.
I don't think so, man.
Not up to the like level he had. He had Netflix fame where he was
I don't think you can point at any other quarterback who is a high school student who is like 16, 15 years old and has this kind of fame. I think like he was kind of one of the first generation that was like, do you know what I mean? I think like there were players before him for sure, but no one was in Spencer's atmosphere as far as like the fame.
What about like Trevor? I feel like Trevor Lawrence was. I could be wrong. Justin Fields, like people that were with him. Justin Fields was also in that QB1 school, wasn't he?
Yeah, they were on that, but they didn't have the kind of following. They didn't have the kind of the spotlight. They didn't have the kind of like if they say something wrong, everyone is on them straight away.
Right.
But they were definitely on that show. But again, I think Spencer was kind of like the first person, and you can see like the damage it did. But again, it's still on him to own it and to figure out how to be an adult. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about before we move on?
Arena football could be a good pathway for Spencer.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
That's terrible. That's not like a diss. It's like, it's genuine. Like, go try and make some money there. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. Like, it's just, that was a genuine comment. Yeah. But no other quarterbacks I'm wanting to see.
Maybe fan control football is a good route.
Maybe. I don't know.
I love the comments in the chat. We are going to have a Q&A at the end here. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about before we move on to running backs?
No, I feel good with everyone we have so far. I mean, obviously the other guy we can talk about is Tanner McGee. But he didn't have a week 3 performance. They played USC last time.
Yeah.
So let's see how he does in, I guess, his week 3 against Washington, who I would assume would be a better week 3 for him.
Yeah, let's find out. All right, let's go to the running backs. And, of course, we start with the king of the 2023 draft class for Dynasty, Bijan Robinson. And, oh, my God, did you get to watch this game?
Yeah, I did.
I know the competition wasn't the most versus UTSA, but holy crap, this guy is really good. Again, he is going to be a top 20 pick in the NFL draft. And for a running back, that feels like top 5 for other positions. You know what I mean?
Bro,
he's special, man.
I said this before, but like I really want to put, I guess I said it in the video, and I said I kind of compared him. He reminds me of like CMC in his prime in college. Like he's doing the shit that CMC was doing in college. Like maybe I'm over exaggerating, but the way he cuts, the way he bursts through the hole, the way he can catch the ball, and this is high praise. You know, maybe it's a dangerous path to go on, but that's generally what I'm seeing in his junior year in college, and I'm talking about CMC's prime time. You know, like 2017, 2018.
Look, this is the best. To me, this is the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley.
It's crazy.
So to me, I mean, I think we should have high expectations because of what we've seen already.
Does Bijan go in the top 5?
No NFL team is building around a running back. That's just not how it works.
Going to do that again? Like you think? And no way it will happen again.
If Saquon Barkley was in the draft next year as a rookie, he wouldn't be top 5 again.
Okay, that's fair.
He might be top 15. I think again, right now, consensus on all the people who are analysts who do mock drafts have him around 12. So that seems more realistic to me. 12 to 20 seems like a hot spot. But teams aren't building around running backs. You're early in the draft. You want a quarterback. You want a wide receiver, an edge, a cornerback. Those are the players that you're really looking to build around your team. Those are your foundation pieces, and running back's just not it for people.
Oh my goodness. So right now, just hypothetically, this would be interesting because the NFL draft order, based on all of the records, according to the NFL database, he's going 12, right? According to the way, if the season ended today, he would go to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be amazing.
That would be really cool. I mean, yeah, that's sexy. That is sexy. Sexy Rexy. Bijan Robinson, look, clearly going to be the 101. Anything can happen, but if I was a betting man, I'm betting right now Bijan's the 101 in 2023, and it's locked in and no one's thinking about it. Like, I think that's pretty safe to say. Someone asked, will anyone even hold a candle to him? And we're going to talk about some running backs now. That was Steven who said that. We're going to talk about some running backs now. But just to be clear, no. No one, there's not another Bijan Robinson in this class. But there are a lot of very, very good running backs who are, let's say, like a Javonte, a Travis Etienne type prospects. Like, there are very, very good prospects in this class, but no one is the entire package like Bijan. Let's talk about Jahmyr Gibbs next. He had a really, really good game. Again, not very hard competition versus Louisiana Monroe, but what we wanted to see from him is utilization in the air. And right now we're continually seeing him utilized in the air on a weekly basis,
which is great.
You want to see more work on the ground though, because for a team who is drafting him, you don't want him to be put in this weird category of like the James Cooks of last year. Oh, forgot to turn that off. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much for the sub. You don't want to see him put in like the category of like the James Cooks, the guys who haven't been able to show with their latest team that they're able to be a reliable workhorse running back on the ground, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping to see more work on the ground for him throughout the year. But still, this is a versatile player. My comp for him was Aaron Jones. I still see that every time I see him touch the ball. He's clearly the best weapon outside of Bryce Young on this team. Would you agree?
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, and what he's doing right now, I think it is great. I would maybe disagree. I mean, I'm just trying to double check his stats in 2021. He was utilized on the ground often. And maybe one thing
I said with his latest team as in Alabama.
Yeah, for sure. And I say I think we got a good understanding of how he is as a runner. But like the areas that he needs to improve in, which we did say, if I'm not mistaken, was pass blocking and him just getting the ball in space. Like, not improve, but wanting to see more of. I mean, I think it's really good for his draft stock that you can see him getting the ball in space and running, and then also, run blocking or pass blocking. So it's interesting. I agree though. A fantastic prospect. Play Vanderbilt next week, which should be another easy win for this Alabama team. At least I would assume so. But anything can happen. But yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, would love to see him utilized a little bit more on the ground, but it doesn't seem to be the game plan for this team. Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, like as of right now, I'm curious where he currently has consensus. 27. That would be a first-round pick. I don't think he's a first-round pick, but
that's the New York Giants, baby.
I more see him as like an early second, like where Javonte went in his draft. You know what I mean? Okay. Like that early second, Breece, where that's Breece fair. Went. So again, Bijan, there hasn't been a Bijan in the last couple classes. Let's be honest. Like there just hasn't been. Najee is not a Bijan prospect. He's a good prospect. Who else? I mean, like it really is since Saquon Barkley. So it's hard to say that anyone will hold a candle to him because they just won't. They just won't. Jahmyr Gibbs had a very, very good game through the air. Your boy Sean Tucker, not the best game versus Purdue. I mean, pretty even competition there. What happened? 2.3 yards per carry, and as of right now, 3.8 on the year. We've talked about it before. We anticipate that getting higher, right? We anticipate him improving, but that is like for college football, that's really, really rough. What's going on with him in this Purdue game? Did you get to watch it?
I was watching a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a little bit of highlights, but I've also caught up with him. I mean, he even knows. He said he literally tweeted out. Yeah, I caught up. He great friend of the show, by the way, Sean Tucker. I got on a Zoom call. He was out there in Syracuse. I said, "Hey, Sean, what's going on?" And he said, "I just wasn't really happy with my performance this week. I know a lot of people are expecting me to be better, and I want to be better. He said this on his Twitter, by the way. We didn't really have a conversation.
Did he actually say it on his Twitter?
He did say it. He was just like, I need to be better. He called himself out. He's like, I need to be better. I want to perform. He was like, we got a W and we're 3-0 and it's fantastic, but I need to perform for my team. And he called himself out, which I think is great. Putting accountability on yourself. I'm actually just
going to bring it up now because I'm curious to see what he said. So I think this might be the tweet. He says, this weekend we won Syracuse 32, Purdue 29. I'm pleased with the outcome of the game. You have to love 3-0. I'm not pleased with my performance. I expect more from myself. The grind never stops, nor will number 34. I rushed for 42 yards. This, by the way, no normal human talks like this.
Nah, no way.
This has got to be someone controlling his social media account.
No, this is him. This is him.
No normal human says, I rushed for 42 yards and 2 receptions for 23 yards.
He just put
this is not a normal human.
He's putting on the Twitter receipts. Come back because next week.
This is definitely him. I mean, it was the most clearly the highest amount of followers that I could find on Twitter.
Yeah.
Anyway. This has got to be like, there's a lot of people out there who have people controlling their social media. This doesn't seem like a human
message. Taking over. But no, look,
maybe we're learning more about Sean Tucker as we go.
It was definitely disappointing performance, and the average yards per carry is not amazing. But when he does get the ball and the opportunity when he has on the ground, I think is fantastic. And yeah,
I need to see more.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying that I'm not in love with the average yards per carry, because I guess it makes sense why people are it's significant to see the average yards per carry high, especially when you have a good team or you're a prospect that is considered high and going against bad people. But would that really necessarily matter going into the next level?
Yes. Yes,
as in, he has all the tangibles, and he's going to continue to get the yards per carry.
If he finishes the year with 3.8 yards per carry, he's nowhere near a second-round pick.
Right, and is that actual facts for? I'm not saying you have that. I guess it's a question for the community as well, because I'm also new to this college scene, so I'm also learning as with you guys, and I'm trying to. I know these prospects, but the college talk.
There are certain metrics that scouts keep in mind. Look, for me to say he's not a second-round pick, maybe that's a little bit outlandish, but I strongly believe that if he finishes the year with 3.8 yards per carry, and by the way, it's not like he's in the SEC, all right? I'm pretty certain that, yes, Syracuse is in the ACC. These are not the elite defenses that a lot of these other prospects are going to be facing. So you can't point at the ACC and say, well, he was in a tough conference and the team, it's like a mismatch. Like, people were trying to justify Isaiah Pacheco, right? And the ACC, I would say, is probably even worse defenses than the Big Ten. I would probably say that. 3.8 yards per carry is not good. It is just not good. Someone had mentioned it in the chat. Steven is 100% right. College running backs can easily hit 5 yards a carry. If you're looking at a prospect and they're not around 5 yards per carry, then a lot of NFL teams are going to point at that and say, well, you couldn't do it versus this low-level competition in college. Not that the ACC is a bad conference, but defensively they don't have the same defenses that the SEC does. And you, as a college prospect, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of college prospects. You have got to solidify yourself and stand out from the pack. And you can have all the athletic abilities, but if it doesn't show up, then people are going to have questions about it. People are going to have questions about it.
That's fair.
I don't think he's a second-round pick. Again, like I said, if he stays on track like this.
Yeah, and well, hopefully he gets better moving forward and gets his average yards per carry higher. If NFL scouts and players are really going to, and teams are really going to be evaluating his yards per carry. But
there's a lot of, I guess, sorry to interrupt, but let's just let's think about it from this perspective, right? NFL GMs, their first, second round picks are so crucial to hit on. They are so crucial to hit on. And you need to give them zero reason to doubt drafting you. You give them one reason to doubt drafting you. I mean, this is my franchise I'm trying to build here. You know what I mean? You have to stand out from the pack. And I just wanted to bring that up as like perspective.
No, yeah.
Put yourself in the mind of a GM. Like, my ass is on the line. You're giving me a reason not to trust you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, anything can happen. I hope he improves this year, and I hope he continues to take some strides, especially in that average yards per carry. But I think with all the tangibles he does have, I think is fantastic. I think he is a dual threat, obviously on the ground and in the air when he does get the ball in the air. But I still like Sean Tucker. I love what he can do. Let's see if he can get that average higher, 3.8 right now. We'll see.
Okay, so they're facing Virginia next, which Virginia is where I was born and raised. That's the college football team I follow closely. They faced Wagner. There's a team called Wagner, which they should absolutely freaking destroy. So, and by the way, Virginia's defense is god awful. These next two games, you need to see an incredible breakout for Sean Tucker here. You absolutely need to. All right, let's talk about Zach Evans. And by the way, the story isn't written on Sean Tucker. All we're saying is now, as it currently stands, there needs to be much more from him to even be considered a second round pick. All right, let's bring in Zachary Evans. It's just Zach Evans. This is one of the guys that I fell in love with before this season started. If it wasn't for his injury last year in our model, he would have been my second running back in this class. Had a pretty good week here versus Georgia Tech. 18 carries for 134 yards, 2 tutties, 7.4 yards per carry. Right now on the year, you can see at that 6.5. I mean, that's an incredible mark for a running back. Obviously, much more difficult competition is coming his way. These are kind of softball teams so far, these three. Like, he should be doing what he's doing right here with these softball teams that are ahead of him. So I want to see what he looks like with these other teams that are coming up. But important to note that this team right now are using Quinshawn and Zach very similarly. Quinshawn Judkins is his name. And when you look at a box score and it says 42-0, you might be able to understand why. There's no scenario in which if Zach Evans continues this and also Quinshawn continues to be effective, there's no scenario for me, because I know that people might ask that question, that I devalue Zach Evans. Let me ask you, did I devalue Javonte Williams because of Michael Carter? No, of course I didn't. But so I hope that brings some sort of clarity. I didn't know if you got to watch this game, but Ole Miss had it in hand. They looked incredible, and their run game looks unstoppable right now. Yeah,
they definitely had it in hand. I mean, we're 3-0 right now. I'm Ole Miss trying to be believer and follower. So it's great that they're 3-0. But yeah, Zach Evans, he had a great game. But yeah, that's one thing I wanted to highlight, that I do believe there is some sort of split workload. Wasn't necessarily seen in, this game against Georgia Tech, but we saw it in
it was seen. I mean, both of these guys got, a lot of carries, though, 18 versus 19 carries.
Yeah, and I feel like when I say it feels like it wasn't seen, it was more of like because of how good Zach Evans actually performs. Okay. So I guess that's where I was going. 18 carries, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which is great. Got into space. But if it continues, and we see a massive jump from that second RB, then I'll be in question. But I don't think that's going to happen. Zach Evans, once again, I already raised him up my rankings.
Do you think you're at all looking for reasons to not believe in Zach Evans?
No, I'm saying he did good.
Okay.
Am I not? Am I not saying that?
You're saying if Judkins continues to be a part of this backfield, you're questioning Zach Evans, no?
Yeah, I am, because this guy. I mean, the way you're saying that, the way you're talking about him, like specifically, is how he is a workhorse guy, right? He's a guy that can come in. He's gonna be a first round guy, but he's splitting.
No, I've never said he's a first round pick.
Okay, that's fair. But I think like if we see him as a workhorse guy and he's not getting the workhorse opportunity, then I wonder if that kind of questions what he can be. But other than that, I think he's definitely playing better than what I expected from what I saw in tape. So I'm not discrediting him. I guess if it comes to the point where it's just like, if he, everyone's saying he's a great guy, he's a workhorse guy, he could be all down back in the NFL, and that's not happening in college. what's that reason? That's all I'm questioning. But I'm not questioning what he can do. I'm questioning why is he not getting the full workload if that's what everyone's seeing him.
So you beat one team 59-3. You beat the other 42-0. Yeah, again, let me ask you: did we devalue Javonte Williams because Michael Carter was a part of that backfield?
I think it's completely different backfields. Personally, I think so.
Well, okay. So how is that not a similar scenario?
I mean,
that North Carolina team ran through their running backs.
Yeah, and once again, I don't know the whole thought process of Ole Miss and if they're running through the running backs right now. I mean, they ran through the running backs the past 2 games. It feels like because of how they were blown out. I'm not trying to argue anything. I just think that's all I'm saying.
I think you might be looking for reasons to not believe in Zach Evans. Sure. I mean, everything is there for you to believe in him, but fair enough. I mean, what can you say? All right, Tank Bigsby is the next running back that we're going to talk about. Someone I was very skeptical coming into the year on. In week 1, he looked incredible. In week 2, looked like his old self. In week 3 versus Penn State, not sure if you got to watch this game, but they got absolutely dominated, and they were not able to establish the run. So not a whole lot that we can really take away from this game.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed for me on Tank Bigsby. I don't know about you.
Nothing changed for me this week. I mean, it wasn't the best game for him. Wasn't the best game for this team. They were trailing from behind the majority of the time. So I mean, I guess this is just kind of like a chalk. It's just a chalk game for Tank. Let's see if he can bounce back in next week here against Missouri.
All right, what other running backs you want to talk about? I mean, I know Devin Akane's there. Nothing. I mean, look, Devin Akane's just been off my board for a while now, so I don't really know what to say about him.
Yeah, look, there's no one else I'm really wanting to talk about.
I will say that Blake Corum had a pretty decent game, but again, it's really hard to judge because in this game you just completely blow out your competition. But again, another guy who maybe if we look at if you take Deuce Vaughn, if you take Devin Akane and you take Blake Corum, then I'm probably taking Blake Corum over all of those guys because of the size that he has, the size advantage that he has over all those other guys. But still, I feel like all these guys are kind of just off my board. Is there any other? There's 24 running backs I want to talk about, 2024. But is there any 23 running backs that you'd like to highlight?
No, and I think you kind of said Deuce is so hard to talk about because of the size. But every time he gets the ball, he's just so nice.
Yeah.
It's just hard not to just respect what he can do. But yeah, the size is definitely not there. But I don't know.
I definitely.
It's tough. It's tough. I don't know how many different ways we can say this. He's such a good player. If he was 6'1", he'll be an amazing player.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. It's tough, but
all right.
Just trying to give credit where credit's due, I guess.
Yep. Kenny McIntosh, another name just to keep on your radar. Nothing really stood out about this game to me. Didn't really get enough opportunities to be considered someone that we move either up or down our boards. But there are, like I said, there were 7 players today that I wanted to highlight that I thought that we didn't get enough, that I just wanted to bring more awareness from over college football this weekend.
Sure.
I talked about Hendon Hooker, quarterback for Tennessee. I talked about KJ Jefferson, quarterback for Arkansas. I want to stay with Arkansas, and I want to talk about Rocket Sanders. Rocket Sanders. That's all the commentator was calling him. His real name is Raheem, but they call him Rocket Sanders, and oh my God, I'm in love with that nickname. But if you watch the Arkansas game this week, if you watch it versus Missouri State, firstly, they should have not been up against a wall versus Missouri State. But holy crap, Rocket Sanders looks incredible. I mean, this guy, incredible body size, 6'2", 230. I mean, you do not want to be facing Rocket Sanders as he's heading downfield. Great burst, great long run speed. I had to look at his recruiting class. He was a 4-star recruit, originally from Florida, signs to Arkansas. I mean, this is someone that we should definitely 100% be keeping in mind. It's not for the 23 class though. He will be in the 2024 class, I believe, because right now he's a sophomore. But if there's a name I want you to absolutely 100% put on your radar, it's Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders.
Trust me. Just go watch that Missouri State game versus Arkansas because you're going to fall in love with this guy instantly.
I think I saw a tweet where he ran like a 70-yard run or pass or something like that. And he just took off.
Yeah. He's special, man. He is special.
It is very interesting to see what he can do. But hey, 2024, we'll see if he can do something then.
Rocket Sanders, man. I don't know if you remember, about 3 or 4 months ago, we made a video and I kind of highlighted 2024 draft class picks, how I didn't feel like they were being valued the same as 2023. And the more I'm watching college football, the more I'm feeling like this 2024 class is going to be very good. It's going to be a very, very good class. So Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders, keep the name on your radar. Right now, if we're doing a 2024 rookie draft, he's probably a top 6 pick for me in Dynasty rookie drafts. Rocket Sanders, keep the name on your brain. TreVeyon Henderson got injured in this game.
Yeah,
not really a lot to say about him. I mean, unless you have anything on your mind.
Nah, I mean, he got injured. Just wasn't ideal. I was really hoping to see a lot from him this week, but
yeah,
it's okay. Hopefully,
I have been screaming the praises of Braylon Allen in the 2024 draft class. He's my favorite running back in the class. He continues to be my favorite running back in the class. Comes out here in the 3rd week of college football, puts up 5.7 yards per carries and 3 tuds. The dude is a freaking unit. He is a tank, but he's not slow. He's like, this is, if there's anyone coming into the league who can maybe emulate what Derrick Henry was, not to say that he will, but it is Braylon Allen. The dude is he is an offense for someone. Like, he truly can be centerpiece of an NFL offense, in my opinion. Broke out at the age of 17, 18 years old. I mean, Braylon Allen, he should be a first-round pick in the NFL draft in 2024. But I just wanted to highlight him again. Really, really good week. All right, I've talked about 3 of those 7 guys that I wanted to highlight. I have my 4th now. Okay. My 4th is Will Shipley, running back for Clemson. Now, you look at his photo, and you're like, look, this guy should be doing my taxes, okay? This guy should be doing my taxes. He shouldn't be on my fantasy football team. But Will Shipley in the 2024 class is going to be an absolute unit. I want you guys to keep track of the name Will Shipley. I still have Braylon Allen over him. I probably would have Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders over him at this very moment. But Will Shipley, I think sometimes I think maybe people in college football have just forgotten about him because Clemson hasn't been the same team, was a 5-star recruit in the 2021 class. 5'11", 205 when he came in, currently still that same size. So he can definitely put on, but for the way that he plays the game, I don't feel like he really even needs to put on any more size. So Will Shipley, look, if you don't want to watch Clemson games because of DJ, watch them because of Will Shipley. Really, really fun guy to watch. Still has, another 2 years of college football, including this year left, but he was number 4 of my 7 that I wanted to highlight today.
Yeah, he's not bad. I'm just watching quick highlights of Willie here.
Yeah.
He's pretty decent. He's pretty fast.
Yeah. No, he's the full package. He is the full package. All right, should we move on to wide receivers?
Oh boy, let's do it.
Who do you want to start with here at the wide receiver position?
I think the biggest one, let's just go straight to LSU and the booty.
All right.
I mean,
another rough game.
Another rough game. I mean, I think this is the talk of the town right here. Well, yeah, this is the talk of the town. What happened? Nothing, because he didn't play.
Mm-hmm. Wait, he did not play?
No, he didn't play. I thought he played.
Okay, what the heck? What happened?
Did I watch like last week's game?
I swear I saw him out there today or this week with Neighbors.
That must have been last week's game.
I swear I saw him out there with Neighbors. Well, we don't have any update for you on him.
Never mind.
But let's talk about Jackson Smith in Jigba. Came back, but a lot of people might be a little bit worried about his performance. 2 catches for 33 yards versus Toledo. In a game, by the way, where C.J. Stroud was cooking. C.J. Stroud had 5 touchdowns in this game. That's right, 5 touchdowns in this game. I don't think it's time to freak out on Jackson yet, though. I just don't think he's necessarily in the groove of the college football season just yet. With what he showed us last year, I don't think it's time to freak out on him just yet. I don't know if you see that differently, though.
No, I don't think it's time to freak out at all. Sorry, I'm just still stuck on Kayshawn.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm just double checking. Okay, sorry. So sorry.
Okay.
No. I had a triple check. I was like, are we being stupid right now, or did he not play? But no, he played 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, Jackson Smith, still early, coming back from injury. Let's let him get accustomed. They're gonna get into a rhythm, and I think they will get him the workload. I mean, we saw in the first couple snaps in a Notre Dame game, that was gonna be a big game for him.
Yeah, it was.
And it was unfortunate he gets injured. So give him a couple weeks to kind of get acclimated from this injury. They play Wisconsin, which, I mean, they have a good team.
Yeah,
I don't think they're bad. So
Wisconsin's. I mean, look, Ohio State should roll them over, but they're definitely not a bad team at all. All right, let's move on to Emeka Egbuka. And
I love this guy. I love him.
This is one of those 7 players that I wanted to highlight that I think we should be talking about a little bit more. Look, I talk about him every week we're on this channel, but again, 5-star recruit, the #1 wide receiver from his class, and playing literally out of his mind in place of Jackson Smith in Jigba. This week, 7 catches on 116 yards and a tud, but he is already putting together an incredible year for someone who we didn't anticipate being relied on this much this early in his college career.
And this is a perfect example of take advantage of your opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Jackson Smith goes down, he steps up, he comes in place for him. Even in the week 1, we even said it, you know, I mean, 9 for 90 versus Notre Dame, and then continues to progress week in and week out. He's not getting, you know, a lot of receptions. I mean, week 2, he got 4 receptions. Week 7, 7. So he's improving. He's staying consistent. A lot of yards, a touchdown in every single game, and a rushing touchdown as well. So he can be utilized in a couple different ways. I like this guy. I think right now it feels like he is.
Again, that 2024 draft class looks better every day that I look at it.
100%. He kind of reminds me of like a. Not reminds me. I kind of think that he could be, you know, a top 10 guy in 2024.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely has that potential to be considered a top 10 pick. I mean, Ohio State is wide receiver U at this very moment, because let's also talk about Marvin Harrison Jr.
Come on, baby.
Who has played really, really well as just like Emeka Egbuka in replace of Jackson Smith in Jigba. In the past 2 weeks, he has 5 touchdowns. Has played really, really well, has looked extremely reliable. I saw a pro comp for him was Kenny Golladay. That's interesting. I think he's maybe like a bit more fluid as a runner than Kenny Golladay was. Right. But again, another wide receiver in the 2024 draft class. Can we be talking about Egbuka and Harrison the way we were talking about Olave and Wilson this year? That's a very realistic possibility for the 2024 draft class. Not to say that they are same players or comparable as players, but more to highlight that maybe we could be talking about these 2 guys in the 2024 draft class. Because as of right now, I think Harrison should be considered a first-round pick. Maybe not a top 10 guy, but I think he should be considered a first-round pick with the kind of production he's putting up and how he looks in games. He looks incredible. Maybe he'll end up being like a second, like a T. Higgins was, but I don't think he gets past the second round if he continues this sort of trajectory moving forward. But this could also be another reason why, hey, Jackson Smith, take as much time as you need to really get healthy, you know?
Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe the thought process is, I'm trying to get healthy. I'm not trying to risk this year. I think he has put a lot on tape to where I think even if he moves on, hypothetically, even if he doesn't play, have an amazing year this year, he's still a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. Like, I think that's going to be okay for him, and I think maybe that's what he's prioritizing. It's like, nah, like I'm not trying to linger this injury throughout my whole last year of college. I'm trying to get healthy and be ready for the NFL because I know I'm going to be a first-round pick, guaranteed, locked in, which may be a 200 IQ play for Jackson Smith.
Could be.
And his team.
I think he just wants to be completely healthy and then focus on helping the team. Draft capital shouldn't be a problem for him. All right, moving on to Jordan Addison. Another guy who looks like he could be in consideration for like a top 12, top 15 pick in the NFL draft.
Crazy.
Wide receivers are very, very sought after in the NFL. Had a pretty good game versus Fresno State. Still had a touchdown. Man, he looked incredible versus Stanford, though. I mean, that was last week, but he just looked so good versus Stanford.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's the guy. He's him.
All right. I've talked about a lot of these players that I think we should be talking about a little bit more. And I think if Alan is out there, credit to him because he mentioned this player to me and then I went to watch this player.
Yeah.
Name is Johnny Wilson from Florida State. Johnny Wilson is 6'7", 235 pounds. And he runs not like a tight end. Like, I don't think he transfers to a tight end. I don't think he becomes a tight end. He has the skill sets of a true wide receiver. 6'7", 235 pounds. Really good as far as like his mobility. Really good route runner. I mean, definitely can improve as a route runner. Originally, he committed to Arizona State. I mean, let me ask you, if you were playing with Jaden Daniels, just like we're seeing Kayshon Boutte right now, would you want to stay at Arizona State? Probably not. So
no,
transferred from Arizona State to Florida State, 4-star recruit. Again, 6'7", 225. In high school, someone named Greg Biggins said that he would be a second-round pick in the NFL draft compared to Colin Johnson from the Jags, which, again, he didn't really work out in the NFL. But Johnny Wilson, definitely a name to keep track of because he didn't really have an incredible week 1 or a week 2. But if this breakout in week 3 versus Louisville is anything to talk about like the rest of the season, we could see him be a feature wide receiver for this Florida State team, who is currently 3-0. And by the way, he's in the 2024 draft class. So
I think like specific things that I want to see with guys that are 6'7", how is his contested catch?
Yeah.
Get him in some fade routes in the end zone. Like, get him involved there. I think he can showcase the length and the speed in different levels. Like, I think where he's going to make his money is those routes. I mean, I'm watching a highlight of him where he just had a massive gain for like 50, 60 yards. He
hear
was like
6'7", 240, and you think this guy's probably going to look slow, right? He does not look slow on film.
Exactly. And that's what I was just saying.
Special set of skills. So I think definitely is a name that we should keep track of. All right. I've given you 6 of my 7 that I wanted to put more respect on, right? I gave you Hendon Hooker. I gave you KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, Will Shipley. I gave you Emeka Egbuka. And I gave you Johnny Wilson. And I'm going to give you my 7th out of 7 here. And when I talked about Hendon Hooker, I said I was going to come back to this Tennessee team. I want to talk about Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt Jr. for this Tennessee Volunteers team. Originally a 4-star recruit, committed to Tennessee. And now I think, he plays a pretty big part for this team who is going on a run. Didn't have a great week 1, but had a really good week 2 and a week 3. When you see Jalen Hyatt's highlights, he reminds me of one player in particular.
Uh-oh.
That's Will Fuller. He reminds me of Will Fuller. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of archetype for a wide receiver is very, very valuable in the NFL. You have a big body X wide receiver on your team, Jalen Hyatt could be the answer for you in this 2023 draft class. I wonder if consensus has picked up on him yet, if the analysts have picked up on him yet. They got Tillman, who I like Tillman. I feel like he's a more well-known name, but right now I don't see Hyatt's name on here at all. So I wonder if that's going to change.
Definitely could.
Like right now, he's not even in their top. Holy moly, he's not even in their top 600. And he is a junior, so he should be eligible for this class. Hopefully, he's put himself on the map. Really, really intriguing prospect to me. Will he be a first, second round pick? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be a first, second round pick. But I think he could end up being someone who rises to like that third, fourth round. So again, just a name that I wanted to, I watched that game at Tennessee. Hendon Hooker looked incredible. Jalen Hyatt looked incredibly explosive, really quick. And he actually looks taller than 6 foot to me. I was surprised that he was 6 foot. Like, he looks much taller than 6 foot on film. But, I mean, you can't really fake measurements necessarily.
Well, they fake him all the way up until the NFL draft, and then you get the real shit. Yeah. Essentially.
Someone on Twitch says, my friend is Will Shipley. Let's go. I mean, that's awesome. Jake's lonely. That's awesome. If that's
what's
true,
up.
man. That's so cool. Shout out to Will. Okay, is there any other wide receivers that you wanted to talk about or you wanted to highlight? There's not really any big movers for me. With this Bama team, I just don't know who's separating themselves. I don't know. Is there anyone else that you want to talk about?
No, I think that's the next guy is Xavier Worthy. I know a lot of people are really excited about him. He didn't really do much this week. Yeah. And then what was the other guy from TCU? Is it TCU?
Quentin Johnston. Yeah.
Quentin Johnston.
He's another one of these guys who's in this situation where we don't have like a very good update on him, but just like Kayshon Boutte, incredible talent, but just not in a system that's going to show production. So we're gonna have to see how NFL scouts view that.
Yeah,
it will have an impact.
He has the body, he has everything. He's eligible this year. Let's see if he stays. Maybe he transfers, he goes somewhere else. But yeah, only 2 catches. They win this game by a blowout. Both of these games are blowout essentially. But we need to see some competition for both of these guys, or really more for Quentin. I feel like right now to really see where he stands.
Yeah, I think it might be a tough year.
It might be a tough. Yeah, it might be. It's tough.
As far as tight ends go, Michael Mayer, didn't really do too much.
I kind of feel bad that his name is Michael Mayer.
Why?
I feel like people are always gonna go to Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Like it's never
what can you do?
Yeah, it sucks, but once he gets to the NFL, Michael Myers.
Well, just Meyer. I think it might be Mayer. I actually might be saying it wrong. It's either Michael Mayer or Michael Mayer. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know, but hey, we'll see how he goes. Tight ends I feel like they're really hard to gauge right now. He had a good week too.
And even for dynasty purposes, they're quite difficult to really hit in the first couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
Another name that I probably, I'm gonna make it 8.
Okay.
I've already talked about this player before, so that's why I felt like I kind of couldn't really claim him as 1. And we haven't seen the production just yet. It might not come this year, but again, Jatavion Sanders, 5-star recruit. He was the number 1 athlete in the country in 2021, and went to Texas. They didn't know where to put him, but they made him a tight end. Production's not there just yet, but I would love to see him continue to grow. He's in the 2024 class. If we can see production for him, like this could be a first-round wide receiver in the NFL, or first-round tight end in the NFL draft. That's the kind of talent that he has. He has everything that you need to be like an elite producing tight end at the NFL level.
In the NFL, yeah. That's interesting. Let's see what he can do in a couple years.
Yep. Right now, just looking at the NFL draft order as it currently stands, hey, if you're Tennessee, do we want to win games?
That's what I was about to say, bro. Does Tennessee not win games, Malik? Bro,
do you want a chance at Bryce or CJ?
Exactly. If CJ and Bryce is on the board, you're saying thank you so much, Malik, but we no longer need you. Like you're shaking his hand and you're saying no, thank you. You know. Look, at the moment, obviously it's super early.
It is. This is gonna look so different. Yeah.
It's gonna look so different. But Atlanta is right where they need to be.
Yeah.
Carolina is right where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts, if they continue, we thought they were contenders. They feel like pretenders. They could be right where they need to be and finally get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Texans. I'm disappointed in my team. I'm happy, but at the same time, very disappointed.
Yeah, you guys
27.
Right now, 27. Yeah.
You're kidding me. Lose a couple games. Let's get to the top here, huh?
Miami forfeits their first-round pick as well because of that whole scandal situation. But at least they have San Francisco's.
Hey, they're going to be like, well, I didn't want a first-round pick because we're going to the playoffs regardless. So
yeah, this is going to look so different. Seattle is not going to be 14th. They're going to be much higher in the draft. You look at teams like, for example, the Giants, no disrespect. I don't think they're going to be
I don't think so either. I don't want them to be here.
Yeah, Detroit, probably not going to be the 20th best team. Jets, So this is going to change. Probably Washington as well. You could put them in that category. Definitely Chicago. I mean, oh my God. I think Chicago might have won the only game they will win this year. Is that too harsh? That's probably too harsh.
Maybe, I don't know. But they play the Giants, so we can definitely lose to them.
Okay, true. All right, guys. Well, any questions? We're gonna end the stream here. But any questions before we go, let us know. We'll set aside about a minute here to answer some questions. Jake says Anthony Richardson to the Seahawks on Twitch. Yep, we talked about Anthony Richardson a little bit earlier. We really want to see a lot of development from him. I really like Anthony Richardson. I'm with you. I like him. We need to see a lot of development from him, a lot of maturity in his game before he's considered a first-round pick. I mean, right now, pure raw talent, he should be in that category, but, man, there's a lot of growth that needs to happen. A lot of growth.
Agreed.
Yeah. But looks like that's probably it for today. Join us next week. We would love to continue to do this. At some point, we are going to do 2023 rookie drafts as well. Huge love, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you very soon on the Redraft channel. On our Redraft channel, we'll be live
tomorrow for the Fantasy Roulette Week 3. Let's see how that goes.
Yep, Week 3.
But huge love, guys.
Huge love. Drop a like on your way out on YouTube and enjoy the rest.